FYF Sports. We back, man. Man, as y'all can see here, man, I'm not even going, hold you. It's all Fanduel today. This is what we talking about. It's Fanduel. It's that time of year. Fanduel, man, this is something that, man, I've been playing fantasy sports for a while, but when I started playing Fanduel, man, this is it. I'm just saying, it just like, it's so competitive. You have such a legitimate opportunity of winning big time prize money that again, it's just something I love to play. And then what it also does is if you're a student of the game of basketball, man, Fanduel forces you to study the game, man. You gotta study the game. You gotta study matchups. You gotta study player trends. You got to study not just the five starters. You got to study all the bench guys. You got to know what guys can do, with limited minutes, what they can do when they get more than limited minutes in case somebody goes down, man. Fanduel really forces you to think. And so I think it's just the challenge of Fanduel that really caught on with me, man. I just love going in on a daily basis, being able to compete. Again, and we're not talking about something that's really expensive. With Fanduel, we're talking about maybe, $5-10 a day. You can hop in a few lineups, make a few lineups. You can compete to win big time money. And so the NBA officially starts this Thursday. And so Fanduel is a statement. They starting it off with a bang. They got a $3 million tournament for it. It's a $4 entry. I'm gonna be walking you guys through how I create one of my lineups. Again, you can copy my lineup, or what you can do is you can use some of the strategies that I use as far as how I go about creating the most optimal lineup for the highest chance of success. Now, at the end of the day, when you're dealing with Fanduel, there's always a little luck involved, like as far as putting the right combination of players together. But at the end of the day, it's just fun to see how all the lineups just develop. I mean, some days you have stunners, you have players who just pop up out of the blue and put up crazy numbers, and you got lopsided results. Some days everybody goes with similar guys and all the lineups look the same. It's really close. So again, Fanduel, man, if you're into sports, man, if you're into studying the game, just don't waste all that knowledge, man. Hop on Fanduel, put that knowledge to the test. I mean, you can do head-to-head contests, all of that. Again, this is not even a sponsored video. This is just how much I enjoy using Fanduel. So, before y'all just say, am I just talking? Am I big enough? No, on Fanduel, you have a legitimate opportunity to win money. The first thing I'm going to show you guys is I'm going to show you one of the lineups that I did in which I actually won $9,000. It was crazy. This is actually a lineup that my girl actually helped me with, so I'm gonna give her some of the credit as well. But again, that's what I mean. But when you put these lineups together, it's a little luck involved, but it's also some strategy as well. All right, so as you guys can see right here, this is a lineup that I did over a year ago. It was a 25K Sunday NBA clutch, as you can see. And if you look at the top here, it tells you how much I won. So what I did was I had 3 lineups that were all the same. You can see my name right here at the top, lane head, and I won $3,000 on each lineup. What I mean by this, a little bit of accident, where I actually had the same lineup. I had 3 entries, and I meant to go in and kind of change 2 of the lineups up so they wouldn't all be the same, and I forgot. And it actually turned out to be a beautiful mistake, because when I left all the lineups the same, I won first place on all 3 lineups. That was $3,000 for each lineup. That was $9,000 in one night, and that's just off of a $12 investment. So I think this was a $4 entry. So I did 3 lineups. That's $12. Again, you guys spend that on McDonald's. Why don't you just play you some Fanduel, drink you some water, and eat something healthy at home instead of buying fast food, right? And that's what I did. Again, $9,000. How many of you guys could use $9,000? And again, when you look at the odds of winning, if you have a fairly strong knowledge of the game of basketball, you can actually win. I'm gonna scroll down and I'm gonna show you my winning lineup for that day. So I'm gonna break down to you how I put together this winning lineup. All right. And then once I break down how I put together this winning lineup, Then we're gonna break. Then that's kind of gonna help you understand how I like to put together my lineups to win money. So the lineup that I use to win $9,000 is right here. All right. So I had Lonzo Ball at my point guard that day. Again, what I liked about Lonzo Ball, especially at this point in time. Now, when this game happened, Lonzo Ball was still a Laker. This wasn't a game when he was with the Pelicans. Lonzo Ball, the good thing about Lonzo Ball is he fills up the stat category with regards to steals, blocks, points, rebounds, assists. Again, he might not get you double-digit points, but he's going, as you see in this game, he gave me 13 assists, 8 rebounds, filled up the stat category, made him an extremely valuable player in FanDuel. And in FanDuel, whenever you can get a player to give you over 35 FanDuel points on any given night, that's a good selection. So I went with Ian Clark. Ian Clark was one of my cheaper players. Again, for whatever reason this day, I felt that Ian Clark was going to step up and give me some good minutes. And he did. If you look at that combination, I used the backcourt. I used Lonzo Ball. I used Ian Clark with my backcourt guys. Ian Clark saved me some money so I could buy up on some positions. I went with Jordan Clarkson. He gave me a solid night. Again, I was kind of worried at first when I saw that. I liked Andrew Wiggins' matchup that night, and it actually paid off. Andrew Wiggins had the best night of everyone. Paul George, we know Paul George is consistent. Now, if you look at his numbers, 14 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds. That's not a striking. That stat line won't blow you away. But it was good enough to get the win because he filled up the stat court across the board. And when you look at those 4 steals, and when you see in FanDuel when you got steals, that's 3 points per steal. So again, I mean, if you look at how I created this lineup, I saved money by throwing Allen Crabbe in there. Allen Crabbe gave me a really good night. Again, he's one of those players where when he has opportunity off the bench, you have to consider him because, again, he's been so up and down. He has the opportunity to go off and get you 20 points just like he did this night. I also went with Anthony Davis. You guys see what Anthony Davis did. Anthony Davis had a crazy stat line. Whenever a player can give you 66 FanDuel points on any given night, that's an unbelievable stat line. So we can see what Anthony Davis did. But again, that's why he's priced so high on FanDuel. Obviously, Carmelo Anthony, another solid pick. He's just another one of those guys. Carmelo Anthony, he's not necessarily going to fill up the stat sheet in blocks or steals, but he's going to definitely give you points or rebounds. And on this night, he actually gave me 3 steals, and that's what made up for his lack of rebounding and assists, which gave him a very solid stat line that night as well. And then I had at the bottom, I got Steven Adams. Again, just a very solid big man. If he has a good matchup, when you look at Steven Adams, if he has a good matchup, and on this night it looks like he had a good matchup against Minnesota, you got to go with him because he's going to give you a double-double. And if he can throw in any blocks or steals, it's just going to blow his stat line up. So if you guys, this is my $9,000 lineup right here. Again, so I won first place 3 times. I had the same lineup that I won $3,000 on. So again, winning on FanDuel is real, man. So again, if you study the game of basketball, if you study these players, if you study these bench players, don't do it for nothing. I know a lot of you guys sitting at home, and again, instead of ordering that Postmates, throw some money on a FanDuel account, set you some lineups up, give yourself an opportunity to get you some money. I mean, the type of money that you can win on FanDuel, you might be able to go jumpstart a business, do anything. Again, put that knowledge to work. You might be able to jumpstart your YouTube channel, buy your camera and computer setup, anything. But again, use that basketball knowledge that you have, put it into FanDuel, right? Even if it's just small investments. I'm not saying everybody needs to go out and drop $1,000 in because it didn't take me $1,000. I put $12 in, got $9,000 back. Again, it's something that anybody can win. So what we're gonna go to for the day, I'm gonna be building my lineup for Thursday. So going into Thursday, right? I have a number of things to consider. This is why I watch those scrimmage games so closely, because I knew I really need to understand these rotations, how are coaches using the bench players, how many minutes are the starters playing, things that I have to consider all of that when I'm putting together my lineup, because this is different. They're playing in a bubble. They're playing in bubble conditions. Some of these games, some of these early games don't really mean much, let's say for the Lakers, as they do for, teams like the Pelicans who are still trying to get in. So the first thing I always look for is value, man. Or the first thing I always look for in my lineups is who has the best matchup. What teams have the best matchup? And what I love to look for, man, you know, I love to look. The first thing I look for is teams to avoid, right? And so, really, really good defensive teams like Miami, I don't like picking teams against Miami. It's not too many times where you're going to find players going crazy against that Miami defense. Same thing with the Clippers. There are a couple teams in the league that you just want to avoid picking players on that opposing team because their defense is so stout. And for me, over the last couple years as I've been doing this, I've learned a hard lesson. Stop picking opposing opponents who are playing against the Miami Heat. Again, so it doesn't look as if the Miami Heat are in this slate of games today. So right now, this is called a short slate. We got 2 games today. So again, we only have a limited number pool of players to choose from. We got the New Orleans and Utah matchup, and then we got the Laker-Clipper matchup. So what we know is a lot of people are going to be big on some of these Lakers and Clipper players. The only player out of the Laker and Clipper matchup that I'm really interested in is Kawhi Leonard. Mainly because it's priced. They got Kawhi Leonard priced under $10,000. That probably has to be a must pick. So my first lock pick of the day is going to be Kawhi Leonard. Now, the one thing about Kawhi Leonard is he fills up the stat line across the board. Blocks, steals, rebounds, assists, and points. He can do it all. He's similar to Anthony Davis in that particular aspect. But the one thing we have to worry about with Anthony Davis is what we can see here is that you have game time decision, and he got poked in the eye. And there are some reports out that there's a possibility he might miss that first game. So as of right now, Anthony Davis is going to be a player I will be avoiding. So what we're going to be doing is, as you can see right here, we're going to be building our lineup around our lock player. So if I'm doing multiple lineups, I'm probably just going to lock Kawhi in all the lineups, and I'm just going to build around that. Again, it's about putting together the right lineup. And then you only have so much money that you can spend. So as you can see right here, if you haven't played Fanduel before, you have a $60,000 spending limit. Every player has a different dollar value, and I have just about $50,000 left to spend on players. All right, so now it's just going to be filling it out, filling the lineup, filling this roster out with 8 guys who have the potential to stuff the stat sheet tomorrow. This is from role players to starters alike, and you got to find a very, very solid combination, not only that you can trust in, but also the coaches trust in. Because it's not going to matter if these guys don't get out on the court and actually go do anything. So we're going to start with the point guards. And what I like to do is I like to bounce from point guards so I don't get stuck on one particular mindset. I'll jump down to center, go back to shooting guards, and I'll kind of just jump around until I have my lineup built. So again, I'm gonna walk you through how I make these selections. I'm gonna try to be real quick with it, and we're just gonna get through it. So one of the players that I love in Fanduel, I love Lonzo Ball. Now a lot of people don't like his stat line because again, they just looking at the points. But in Fanduel, don't fall in love with the points. Don't fall in love with the points. What you need to do is you need to fall in love with players who can stuff the stat sheet, who have the ability to get 10 assists, to have the ability to get 8 rebounds, who have the ability to get 2 or 3 steals, maybe 1 or 2 blocks. Lonzo Ball is that guard. He's that type of guard. Again, now he is going to be going up against Mike Conley. Mike Conley is one of the better defensive guards in the league, but as of late, I don't think they've been doing a lot to really slow players like Lonzo Ball down. Now, this is a game that matters for the Pelicans. This game matters for the Pelicans. They have to win this game. So I expect Lonzo Ball to play high minutes and have a lot of usage. As we saw in that first scrimmage game, he played the most minutes. He filled the stat sheet up across the board. So again, my second player, and again, I almost would consider locking Lonzo Ball just because of the amount of minutes he's going to be playing. And then also, we don't know if Zion's going to be back, so that's going to increase everybody else's usage. So I gotta put Lonzo Ball in here. Now again, this could be a bust pick. I mean, Lonzo's the type of player who could disappear, but as it stands right now, the coach is really high on Lonzo right now, high confidence. I think they're gonna ride him to this victory tomorrow. That's my prediction. But I really like Lonzo Ball. So again, as I said before, we're gonna jump across here. We're gonna jump down to centers. We're gonna jump down to these centers right here. Now, what you want to look at again when we see Montrezl Harrell game time decision, there's a very high likelihood that Montrezl Harrell is still not clear of his quarantine and probably not be playing tomorrow. So what that does is it increases the usage for other bigs. So when we look at players like Ivan Zubac, his usage could potentially go up if he's ready to go. We have, and let's just click on this team here so we can just kind of sort through it just a little bit better. So we can sort through just the Clippers centers. So the other Clippers center, we got a very, very intriguing pick right here in Joakim Noah with Montrezl Harrell out. Now the one thing we know about Joakim Noah is this man does not like LeBron James. So the one thing I know Noah's gonna do, I know he's gonna come out and he's gonna be playing with fire and intensity. Now whether he produces, we don't know. In Fanduel, it's all about making those risky picks, taking those wild guesses on who's going to come out. And if I have to take a wild guess, I feel like Joakim Noah is going to come out and play like a madman because of his disdain for LeBron James. And I love going with grudge match picks on Fanduel. Again, if you're watching this video, keep an eye on Joakim Noah because we want to look at his price. The lowest price center at $3,800, you can save a lot of money and get a lot of value. If this man does anything, let's say he messes around and get 3-4 blocks, 6 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, that's gonna be a crazy stat line. It doesn't sound like it, but in FanDuel for $3,800, that's the type of line I'm expecting him to have. But again, he's been playing good. Right now, I'm gonna go with a sleeper. This is gonna be my first sleeper pick of the day. I'm gonna go with Joakim Noah at center. So y'all see my lineup right here so far. I got 3 players picked. We got 6 more to go. I'm gonna jump up to shooting guard. Now, we know that Lou Williams is out. Lou Williams is out. What does that mean? That means that usage is increasing for other players. What are the other players on this roster, on that Clipper team, who could gain an advantage off that usage? If we don't see anybody, the first person that comes to my mind that can gain that usage advantage is going to be Paul George. They got Paul George priced extremely low. For a player that can do everything that he does, they have him priced extremely low. And again, in a grudge matchup with LeBron James, I could highly consider picking him in this particular matchup. I like the matchup, especially with Lou Williams out. And then for whatever reason, they got this man. So at 7,400, Paul George might have to be a must pick. I got to give him in there. So again, right now I'm going to be cautious of the fact that I do have 3 Clipper players so far. All right, and on FanDuel, you can only pick max 4 players on the same team. Max 4 players on the same team. And after that, you got to start looking at some other options. So I don't think I'll be picking any more Clipper players, but I do like the Clippers in this particular matchup. And because they're down guys right now, Kawhi Leonard's going to get more usage. Paul George is going to get more usage. And we got Joakim Noah in a grudge match. He hates LeBron James. I think he may show up and have a very good game, at least in terms of FanDuel, to help my lineup out. So now we're going to go down to a spot I haven't touched yet. We got power forwards. All right, we got these power forward position. We're going to look at all the power forwards available. Now, I don't know what they're going to do with Zion Williamson. Are they going to let him sit out a game or two so he can get his conditioning back? I don't know. With things like Zion Williamson, sometimes you just have to wait till right before the game starts until you can verify it. But if you can verify that Zion Williamson is going to be playing tomorrow, I would say get him in there because he's going to get you points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. And at his price at $7,100, it's going to be hard to pass up on him. But as of right now, we got to pass on him. I don't like Kyle Kuzma in FanDuel because of his inconsistency and because they're going up against one of the better defensive teams in the league. So I'll have to pass on Kyle Kuzma at my power forward spot. We're looking at here is not a very, very deep power forward position today. Wherever you pick a power forward today, you're going to be taking a risk. Again, a lot of people are going to be probably going with this Kyle Kuzma pick. I don't trust the Kyle Kuzma pick. I like Nicole Melli. I like him just a little bit more. And there's another player that I actually liked in these preseason games. I liked Amir Coffey. So again, I might have to come back to this power forward position. It's really, really hard to pick today. So I may have to pick at some of these other spots and just see what I have left before I pick at that power forward position. But we got an average 6,200 left to spin. Let's go ahead and spin this. Let's get our other point guard in there. All right, there's some good point guards tomorrow. I don't like picking point guards who are guarding against each other. I don't like Mike Conley. Mike Conley's really been disappointing since he's been in Utah. But by him being back, that's going to affect Donovan Mitchell's usage. The other player that I do like, in a sense, I kind of do like Reggie Jackson. I'm not for sure what his usage will be tomorrow. With Rondo out, the Lakers are not very deep at point guard. Whew, man, it's a tough pick. It's a tough pick on this one. It's going to be a tough pick on this one. I would have to say because of the pace of the game, because they lack point guard depth, and because he's going to get more usage than normal, I would have to go with Mike Conley. Got to go with Mike Conley. I don't like picking two guards that are playing against each other, but at the end of the day, I got to go with that because, again, if you look at all of our other options, I don't have any other options that I can necessarily trust. So now we're going to jump down to our small forward. Let's pick our second small forward. Again, they got a lot of these players undervalued for some reason. Undervalued. Brandon Ingram at 7,300 is extremely low value. That's almost a value that you cannot pass up on, especially since he's torched the Utah Jazz this year. So what I'm going to have to go with Brandon Ingram. He gets high minutes. What I saw in that first scrimmage game was he came in a few minutes, and in just a few minutes of action, he instantly had an impact on scoring, scored a lot of points. So I got to go with Brandon Ingram as my second small forward. We got 3 spots left. I said the power forward position is the toughest to select. So we're just going to go ahead and get this shooting guard out of the way. This is probably the next hardest spot to pick. Now, look, we have an average of 6,100 a player left. So, again, we got to keep that in mind as we round this out. Are we going to make riskier picks? Or are we going to try to keep it balanced? Are we going to go for the gusto and pick somebody expensive? I don't know. But what we got to look at is we got to look at who can give me the most for my money available. And again, a lot of people, the big names are easy to go with. We got Donovan Mitchell here. He's a big name. On a short slate like today, I would have to go with Donovan Mitchell. Because if we look at our lineup, let's look at our lineup. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 starters out of our 7 picks. All right, starters are always going to give you your best usage because, again, they have the most opportunity to do more on the court. They're getting the most minutes. Everybody that we've selected here has fairly high usage. So I like everybody that we have, and I like our sleeper picks. So we got 2 power forwards remaining that we can pick at 5,600. And let's see what we can work. Let's see what we can work out. All right, so Anthony Davis potentially injured. What we have to also consider is if Anthony Davis is out, you may have to consider selecting LeBron James because his usage is going to just go through the roof if it does. So I'll keep that in mind. More than likely, if Anthony Davis is out, I'll probably be switching out Brandon Ingram for LeBron James, and I'll have to just kind of switch a few things up, probably at power forward to make it work. Because again, if LeBron James has a great day, which I think he will, if Anthony Davis is out, then he's almost a must play along with Kawhi Leonard. I'm just looking at this here, or it looks like more than likely we're going to have money left over. On these short slates like this, I never really look at how much money I have left over, because if you just try to fill out your roster and match everything up until you get $0 in your balance, sometimes you can just overthink it. That's not necessarily optimizing your lineup. Sometimes you can have $1,000 or $2,000 left over. If you're comfortable with your lineup, Just go with your gut. And again, that's one thing I really want to tell you when you play FanDuel. Go with your gut feeling. Go with your gut feeling, because there's a lot of times you make that change. And later on when the night's over with, you say, I should have listened to my gut. That player went off. So again, go with your first mind. Go with your first mind on FanDuel. And if you believe in somebody that day, just believe in them for the day. If it doesn't pan out, you can try again the next day. That's the great thing about FanDuel. So we got these 2 power forwards we can pick. I'm not sold on Kuzma. But I may have to be sold on Kuzma for the time being. If Anthony Davis is out, because his usage is going to go up, they probably will insert him into that starting lineup. So that being said, I may have to either go with Kuzma or Nicoli Melli. So let's just look at this. I do like Kuzma. Might have to go with him. And again, on these short slates, you're going to find yourself picking players that you don't normally pick or you even feel comfortable with. But you got to understand your options are limited. And again, now it comes down to getting out your feelings, making the best basketball decision that you can make. Because sometimes you can be a fan and you can tend to find yourself drafting players towards a particular team or conference. Get that out of your head and just start using your brain. Even if you got to go to ESPN.com or NBA.com to do some additional research, to pull up some advanced analytics. Do what you got to do so that you can feel comfortable with your picks. All right, the last pick we have. Now, the last pick that we have, we got 6,500 left. Now, the situation with Anthony Davis right here is starting to get urgent. Now, I've already seen reports that he may be out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Brandon Ingram out at small forward. I'm going to go up to LeBron James. Now, as you can see, that throws my money off. There's no player. Again, the cheapest player you can find on FanDuel is going to be $3,500. But I feel like I have to make that particular decision. Primarily because I don't know the status of Anthony Davis. And until I find out the true status of Anthony Davis, if he has to sit out a game, then I'll make those adjustments about an hour to 2 before the game starts. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off a player that I didn't necessarily feel comfortable with in Mike Conley Jr. I feel more comfortable with LeBron. If we look at the power forwards, that puts my money, with the power forwards available, puts my money in right around the average cost of the decent power forwards that are left over. We got Marcus Morris. One thing you want to consider when you look at Marcus Morris is whenever he's paired up in a matchup against his brother, he always plays pretty solid. And if AD is out, you may want to look at both Morrises. So again, Morris is a potential consideration. He got a lot of minutes. With Montrezl Harrell and those guys potentially out, he could get some more usage. So I'm actually going to go with Marcus Morris in this matchup. Marcus Morris, for whatever reason, he plays better matched up against teams with his brother on it. So hopefully we can get something out of it. Again, when you're making these cheaper picks, any picks under 5,000, again, these are all risky picks. There's really no surefire picks when you get under 5,000. You just have to go with your gut. You just have to go with your philosophy or your strategy, whatever you use to make these decisions. Just go with that and stick with it. Eventually, it'll pan out. Just like when I won my 9,000, I stuck with a certain strategy and it ended up paying off. So I got one player left. I got to pick a point guard. Obviously, it's not going to be the greatest point guard. I have 3,900 left. But look who I have sitting right in front of me. I have Reggie Jackson. And again, with the players that are out, we don't know if Shamit's going to play. We don't know if Montrezl Harrell is going to play. We know Lou Williams is going to be out. Reggie Jackson's usage is going to be skyrocketed more than normal. So I like him right there. Now, again, this is about give and take. If I did another lineup, I may take Paul George out. I may take Donovan Mitchell out and replace them with other guys. But I want to stick with my core guys. My core guys are going to be Kawhi Leonard. Core guy is going to be LeBron James, especially if Anthony Davis is out. My sleeper pick of the day is going to be Joakim Noah. Again, I don't necessarily trust Noah. He may not pan out. He may not give me the game that I'm thinking. But at the end of the day, if you don't take these types of risks on FanDuel, you have no opportunity of winning. You have to take risk in some of your lineups. Sometimes you have to go for it like that. So that's what we're going to be doing here. That's the lineup that we're going to be doing with. I'm going to run down the lineup one more time. We have Lonzo Ball, Reggie Jackson, Paul George, Donovan Mitchell, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Kyle Kuzma, Marcus Morris, and Joakim Noah, leaving us with a remaining balance of $100. So we got the most out of our money. And again, sometimes you don't use all your money. Sometimes you'll have $1,000 left over. Again, don't worry about the money you have left over. Focus on your lineup and are you comfortable with everybody that you selected. And make sure when you select a player, make sure you have your own fundamental reasons for selecting that player, especially in FanDuel. Have your own reasons. That's how you build the strongest lineups. And again, it's not going to work. Your philosophy may not work every night. You may look at the winning lineup and see that they had a completely different philosophy. That's fine. Again, something, on me, I did not win on FanDuel my first night. I didn't win on my second night or my third night. All right. But again, as the months waned on and I got more experienced, I learned very quickly what works and what doesn't work. And the next thing I know, $9,000 just that quick, made all my money back plus a lot more. And again, the 9,000 tournament, I've won other tournaments that I was in first place for another $100,000 tournament where I could have won 100,000. I ended up dropping towards the end, and I think I only won like 2,500. But again, you have the opportunity to win really good money. It's a really equal playing field. It's just about using, and again, we go on these debate shows and we're talking basketball all day. I want to see some of these guys who have all this basketball intellect hop on FanDuel. Let's put it to the test, because FanDuel will not just test your mind, but it'll also teach you about players who are being effective and what players aren't being effective consistently. So, hey, another great episode, man. Another great episode, man. That's our FanDuel lineup for the day. Hey, man, if you guys got any winning lineups that you want to share with us, let us know, man. If you got some good winning lineups, if any of our tips and strategies help you to build an effective lineup, let us know, man. Hit us up. Hit us up in the comment section. Send us a screenshot of your winning lineup. We would love to post it, especially if you took any one of our tips and you shared it, you used it to build a winning lineup. But again, it's not about our tips and strategies. Base what you do off of your fundamental core values and just have fun with it. All right. If you find yourself getting mad, if you find yourself smashing your laptop or your computer, shut it down. Shut it down, because then you're taking, again, this should be all in fun. All right. There's some nights where I win money. There's some nights where I lose money. Most nights I just break even on FanDuel. But at the end of the day, it's a good time. And especially in the time right now where we're dealing with a pandemic, anything that you can do to take your mind away, you can use your brain to kind of think on some other things. Definitely take time to do that. That's time for yourself. And at the end of the day, you get bragging rights. If you win $100,000, come back to me. You got big time bragging rights if you can show me a FanDuel check of that amount. So FYF Sports, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I hope if you play fantasy sports, I really hope that you like this video. Again, over the course of this bubble, we're gonna try to drop FanDuel videos at least 3 to 4 times a week, because what I like to do with these videos is I want to show you the lineup I picked, and this lineup is going to be for Thursday's games. And so on Thursday, I'll probably do another lineup for, let's say, Saturday's games. So that way, again, I can show you who I picked and why I picked them, and then I can show you the results that Saturday. So hopefully we can see if we did. But you may see Lanehead at the top of one of those lists. If I am, hey, I'm a winner. FYF Sports, man, appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to all the content. Thank you guys for all the support, man. Close to 9,000 subscribers. At 10,000 subscribers, we're going to be dropping that merch. I cannot wait to drop that merch, man. I'm really excited. But, man, it seems like that 10K is taking a while to get here. So you guys really need to hit that subscribe button. Share it. Make sure all your friends are hitting it as well, because we need that merch line to drop at 10K. All right, FYF Sports, another great video, and we out.